Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another live stream. And wasn't really planning on streaming tonight. I know Chelsea game this weekend, thought of a weekend off, no depressing news. And then suddenly this afternoon, we're hit with some big news in the search for a new manager, that Julian Nagelsmann has withdrawn from the race to become the next Chelsea manager. We've then got Mauricio Pochettino, who's already held 2 rounds of talks now as well. He looks like he's going to be the new favourite. Vincent Kompany surprisingly finds himself on that shortlist as well. And there's an unnamed candidate as well, potentially. So there's a lot been going on, a lot to get into here. Never a dull day with Chelsea. You know, I'm not sure how we've gone from kind of having Nagelsmann and Enrique as the front runners to then being left with a 3-man shortlist of Pochettino, Vincent Kompany, and an unnamed candidate. But according to reports, that's exactly where we are right now. And this was kind of an unexpected twist that we weren't really picturing happening. You know, Nagelsmann, by all accounts, was the front runner for the job. And it looked like it was his to lose. But the developments today have seen him withdraw from the race. We'll get into the reasons why. But Dharmesh, thanks for coming as always, bro. Massively appreciate it. We weren't really expecting that news today, that with Nagelsmann pulling out of the race. I mean, what were your thoughts when you saw it? Because by all accounts, like according to everyone, he was the lead candidate, the front runner, and it was kind of his to lose, really. But he's obviously decided that it's not for him.
Yeah, big up Charlie, big up the chat as well. Yeah, do you know what, mate? I find it really surprising, you know, considering of how well the talks were going in the past sort of couple of weeks and stuff. And to think now that he's ruled himself out, like something must have happened in the next round of talks, in my opinion, like something that the ownership didn't obviously like, or something that maybe Christopher Vivell or Win Stanley didn't really sort of like. So I guess it's one of those where something definitely happened in this next round of talks to sort of got him to withdraw from being linked to the Chelsea job. But yeah, I mean, like initially I was keen on Nagelsmann, but I think as time went on, I think Enrique was sort of my pick. But obviously he's not out the running, so I guess it's a bit of a surprise, especially with Vivell being at Chelsea now, being part of the recruitment team and some of the decisions that go on. So yeah, with regards to that, mate, it's a bit surprising, but at the same time, I'm not going to be too disheartened if we don't get Nagelsmann. If I'm being honest, like I get he's a decent manager, and he's obviously won stuff. He's done well for Leipzig and obviously for Bayern respectively. But I just don't think. I think in the long-term future, I just don't think he's the guy. In my opinion, I'm just not really sort of moved by Nagelsmann. In my opinion.
No, I mean, look, he would have been my preferred choice. He's got pros. Like every manager has got pros and cons, you know, and it's what one's going to tick the most boxes for you and fits what you're looking for to the best of their ability. And you know, if Nagelsmann's got doubts about the job, then and he doesn't think it's right for him, then we're better off not having him. But having seemingly spent so long thinking he's going to be the guy, and then this kind of last minute approach, what's changed from kind of like, so this is not the first lot of talks we've held with Nagelsmann. There's been multiple lots of talks. So what's changed from say the first or second round of talks to the third round of talks, or from the first to the second round, that's made him decide that actually this isn't right for me? I don't know if those reasons will come out or not. But it's set us back a little bit, because I think a lot of us were expecting it to be Nagelsmann. Got this here. Nagelsmann felt there were fundamental structural recruitment and process decisions at Chelsea that don't best serve his approach. Now, I think that's fine. If that's what he feels, then that's not a problem. You know, if that's obviously it's a problem for us because we wanted him, but I don't necessarily think it's an issue in terms of like, if he doesn't think what we've got in place is right for him, his future career path, then that's fine. But if he's thinking that, surely a lot of other top managers may well be thinking that as well. I know not all top managers' approaches line up with what Nagelsmann does, but you'd like to think, well, if a top manager like Nagelsmann's thinking that those issues don't really best serve how he looks to work, then is Pochettino overlooking those issues? Or like, do you know what I mean? Are you concerned by the fact that Nagelsmann's highlighted the fact that he feels there's structural recruitment and fundamental issues like in and around that process? I know it's new, it's a new owners, it's new kind of people in that role, but that's a little bit concerning to be hearing that if that is true.
Yeah, I mean, seeing that obviously tweet earlier, I was a bit surprised because initially I thought Nagelsmann would feel comfortable and sort of confident with sort of the structure that we've got in now, to what we brought in say December, January. So yeah, seeing that, mate, it's a bit it's a bit confusing, to be honest, and a bit surprised as well. Yeah, as obviously the tweet says there, fundamental structure and recruitment. Like, yeah, it's like obviously we spent quite a few quite a few money, obviously in January and stuff, with the new recruitment team. So I would have thought that Nagelsmann would have been happy with at least say what, or Bowley probably obviously sort of might have promised, what do you call it, Nagelsmann some sort of money to be spent in the summer and maybe some offloading of players as well. But like I said before, something must have happened in this next round of talks to have like changed his mind in a way, whether that's pursuing more of the youth or pursuing more of the well-established first team players that obviously are still there, and maybe it's got to do with offloading players as well. Maybe we don't plan to clear out as many players as we initially hoped for. So yeah, it's all a bit strange to me, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not saying that something's not adding up. They've held talks. They like a lot of what he says, but ultimately, like, they're not going to change their model for one person. You know, if this is the route they want to go down, then they need to find the person that best fits it. And if Nagelsmann decides, you know, that he's got concerns, then I'd rather him not take the job if he's got those concerns, because, you know, if he takes a job and then he'll start raising those concerns, and that can cause a bit of a fallout, and you can sort of see it going wrong from the off or whatnot. But it is a massive disappointment that Nagelsmann's pulled out. I think he was a lot of people's favourite to take to go forward. But I mean, you get the classic PR spin, you know, you get like, not from Nagelsmann's perspective, you know, he's turned us down, which I think is now true. He has turned us down. But then you get the Chelsea PR spin that's come out and saying that, you know, or the Chelsea briefing that we were slightly unconvinced on a few things. Well, what things were you unconvinced on suddenly that he didn't work out in the initial talks? What suddenly changed? Now, there's a lot of backing for Nagelsmann within the hierarchy. Vivell, Lawrence Stewart, etc., worked within the Red Bull organization before. Vivell knows him well. You know, so something's obviously gone
It's got to be
amiss.
money, I think, man. Surely it's got to be the money, or surely it's got to be something with the players.
I don't think it's a money thing either. I just think it's like, I mean, there's another report from, I think, Miguel Delaney, can't remember which paper he writes for now, saying that like Nagelsmann's kind of character was too similar to Tuchel in terms of like, he very much just likes to focus on the stuff on the training pitch and just the football. Rather, I think what they're looking for is a more collaborative approach where manager, head coach, whatever you want to call it, is also contributes to other decisions. Whereas we know full well Tuchel didn't like that stuff. I think Nagelsmann could be similar in that way, just on that approach, that collaborative approach, wanting a manager to be involved in kind of more things than just the football. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, bro, it's a red flag. I can't lie. Do you know what you just said there about sort of what Tuchel wanted to be sort of involved and not involved in? Like, hearing that you say that, it's just probably flashbacks to the summer, man, of when like obviously Tuchel didn't really want to be involved in all that stuff. So yeah, it's just a bit it's a bit crazy that we're not in talks with this guy with regards to that, because what more does Bowley really want from Nagelsmann? Does he want to be involved in scouting as well, like Tuchel had to be involved in the summer? Because obviously we didn't have our sort of team back then where we could successfully sort of scout and recruit players, and it all had to be on sort of Tuchel. But yeah, you make a good point. To be fair, that could be the reason as well. With regards to recruiting players, it might have to be all down to sort of Nagelsmann, as it was for Tuchel. There might be disagreement of players that Todd Bowley wants himself, other than Nagelsmann. So yeah, man, it's just bringing me flashbacks to just Tuchel, man, in the summer. To be honest, this kind of situation regarding Nagelsmann.
It's interesting. I mean, before we kind of move away from the Nagelsmann situation and whatnot, what do you think? I mean, what do you think of the owner's approach, like in terms of this process we're going through? I mean, do you think their approach and what they're looking for is putting top managers off? Do you think that approach needs re-looking at? Do you think we need to maybe move away from a more? I get it. You want everyone to pull in the same direction, 100%. But I also think there's, and I've not got an issue with wanting a manager to get involved with more than just a football, whether that's recruitment, data, whatever it is. But I also think there's a lot to be said for let the football people, let the manager or head coach or whatever deal with the footballing side of things. He can obviously feed back. He can recommend. He can say like, I'd like these players or whatever, and they can have a dialogue between the scouting department or the footballing department and the manager, head coach or whatever. Look, we've been analysing the data. We think these players are good. Actually, I think I'd like you to have a look at X, Y, Z. That's cool. But I also think there's a thing to be said for just allowing the manager or head coach or whatever to just get on with the football and let the other guys take care of the rest. There can be a danger of getting a manager too involved, and then it goes the opposite way. Like, it's, again, getting a manager involved, it's another voice. We've already got like 3, 4, 5 people on within that footballing department feeding back to the owners. Do we really need another opinion? Like, I feel like we could almost be in danger of going the opposite way, where we're almost now got too many opinions. Like, you don't just want one. You don't want everyone just agreeing to the same thing, because it's pointless. You want challenge, you want pushback, but and like that's how you'll grow. But I just feel that like maybe we could be in danger of getting too many people on board and listening to too many opinions. I mean, I don't know what were your thoughts on that potentially. I mean, I could be wrong on this completely, but it does feel like that a little bit. I'm all for this footballing department, but at the same time, it does feel a little bit like, well, hang on a second, are we getting too many people involved in this decision-making process?
Yeah, I think I said this on either one of your streams or one of Lawrence's streams. I think back when we were sort of looking at a new manager after Potter and stuff, and even during sort of since I started coming to this channel, like I kind of mentioned that having too many opinions at times, that just goes with anything. It somewhat confuses you. Whereas if you have it narrowed down, then that way you're kind of set on like a philosophy and style that you want. For example, like if obviously let's just say there's a boardroom of 10 people and they're all giving different opinions, then you're just going to be confused, aren't you? It's just like it's mad. But then if you have like 3 to 4 or maybe who are set on one sort of philosophy or idea, then that way you can stick with it. And then if it goes wrong, obviously you can change it after or be allowed to change it. But if you have lots of people involved, then there'll be a lot of like maybe heated debates going on that we don't know about. Like Vivell and let's just say Vivell and Egbali or something might have conflict in terms of the manager idea and stuff, or maybe Bowley and Lawrence Stewart or Winstanley, for example. Like they all might have their own separate like agendas and like their own sort of conflicts that because at the end of the day, nobody's going to really fully agree unless there's some sort of catch to it at the end to suit their own agenda, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. You're never going to please everyone with the appointment there, but a lot of people that want Nagelsmann. There'll be people that want Poch. There'll be people that wanted Enrique. You're never going to please everyone. But for me, ultimately, as long as they make the right decision, if they come to the conclusion, having done the relevant process, like crunched all the numbers and done everything they need to do, if they come to the right conclusion and if they decide that X manager is right, even if you personally, yourself, fans disagree with it, I think we have to just put our trust in the footballing people and see where it takes us. These guys know what they're doing, supposedly. So sorry, go on, mate. So let's just put our faith in them. Otherwise we're just going to be constantly arguing about this back and forth. Like,
yeah, that's what I was saying. It's kind of like I think the main reason why a lot of people are sort of panicking a little bit in terms of the fan base is because of the decisions that obviously the ownership have made this season. Obviously, with regards to sacking Tuchel as an error, obviously bringing Graham Potter as an error as well for that length of contract, and people are just scared, I think, of what kind of manager we go for and what kind of contracts we offer, because I know the ownership have done quite a few things right, but at the same time, they've messed up massively as well this season, and they definitely have to hold their hands up and accept that.
Yeah, no, mate, 100%. By the way, guys, I will get to the things in the chat very shortly when we get onto the Poch stuff. I know there's a lot of you in there talking about Poch in the chat. I'm not ignoring it. I will get to it. By the way, guys, keep smashing the likes on the stream as well. We're on 12 at the moment. Let's get that to at least 20 people. So if you're tuned in now and you've not smashed the likes, make sure you smash the like. Get it up to 20 likes, guys. We're on 12 right now, so we can definitely improve On that, and whilst you're at it, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, edging ever closer towards 3,000 subscribers. So make sure you hit that big red subscribe button, people. Right. Let's get into this one then, mate, because this is quite a divisive topic. It's with this Nagelsmann news. Obviously, it came out that Chelsea had held talks with Pochettino before the Nagelsmann stuff came out today. But subsequently transpired that Chelsea have actually held 2 rounds of talks with Pochettino. It looks like he's now the new clear favourite for the job, although they maintain there isn't a clear favourite. West Ham and Aston Villa reportedly tried to appoint Pochettino earlier this season, couldn't do it. And apparently Spurs, according to Fabrizio, haven't spoken to Poch recently either. Before we get into all the Poch stuff, I know a lot of people are absolutely no. But I know yourself, myself to a degree as well, aren't as severely anti it as some people are. I mean, what are your thoughts on Pochettino coming to Chelsea potentially, just in general, before we move on to him as a manager?
Right, just to make this clear for everyone, yeah, Poch is not my number one choice, yeah. Enrique, I've said before, Enrique is my number one choice, but if Pochettino ends up becoming the Chelsea manager, it's honestly not the worst decision that could be possibly made in terms of a new manager. That's all I'm saying. There's worse candidates out there. You've got people linked with like Brendan Rodgers and Vincent Kompany. I'm sorry, but are there better managers than Pochettino? No, I'm sorry. So for me, if Poch does come to Chelsea, like obviously I'll feel a little bit like, oh, okay, he used to be ex-Spurs and stuff, and we don't really do that at Chelsea. But at the same time, like we can't ignore of what he sort of achieved as a manager. And I know obviously he bottled the league with Spurs, and he didn't win the Champions League with PSG, but at the same time he did ended up winning trophies at PSG, didn't he? And he played really, really good football as well with Spurs. We can't, like, as much as we hate Spurs, we just have to admit that in that season they were actually good that season. And obviously they didn't go on to win the league, but we have to hold our hands up and say they played good football this season. Look what we did to Dele Alli that season, one of his best seasons for Spurs. Christian Eriksen as well, balling out. I believe as well he brought in Harry Kane. He first
started using him, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was him, wasn't it? So that's just to make it clear. Like Pochettino is not my first choice, but if we hire him, I tell you guys, it won't be the worst appointment I think possible with the names that we mentioned, in my opinion, anyway.
No, I agree. I'm just going to scroll back to a few things in the chat at the moment. Let's get here. Job Poch did at Spurs is nothing short of remarkable. Look, on the job that he did at Spurs, yes, he didn't win anything. No one's won anything at Spurs. So I don't think we can use that as something against him. The job he did at Spurs was phenomenal in terms of the way that you could see a trajectory that each season he was there, the team was getting better. Yes, they got to a Champions League final. Fantastic achievement, knocking out Man City, that phenomenal comeback against Ajax. In the final against Liverpool, they didn't turn up. They weren't good enough. You know, penalty in the first odd minute for them. He started a fully fit, a not fit Harry Kane. It didn't work out, but Pochettino did a great job there. To even talk about Spurs in a Champions League final, to talk about Spurs as in a title race, you know, those are things you don't say. So I think
with that budget as well, with Levy's budget as well,
they didn't back him for 2 windows. Not a single new player came in after that Champions League final for 2 windows. Like he did a good job. He did a good job there. He develops young players. They played good football at Tottenham during his reign there. Yes, it went sour towards the end, like it always does with every manager. But you know, he did a good job there. So if you don't want Pochettino, that's fine. But let's not reinvent the wheel and pretend that Pochettino's not a good manager, because he is a good manager. If you don't want him, fine, not a problem. But don't say that he's not a good manager, because he is. He wouldn't be my personal choice, but he's not a bad manager, is what I'm trying to say.
I'm exactly the same as you, bro.
It's the owner's fault Nagelsmann rejected us. Same with Enrique. I don't know. Look, we don't know whose fault it is. It's always going to be one person's word against another person's word until the truth eventually comes out at some point. I think, look, they want to go down this route. They'll find someone that ticks the boxes, and we just have to wait and see who it is. Yeah, I agree with this. Poch is very good with working with younger squads, improves them. And just on this as well, Poch might not necessarily be the guy that's right long term, but he could be someone that comes in, steady the ships, improves the young players, gets us, qualifying for the Champions League again, regularly finishing top 4, and then someone else might come in a 2 to 3 years time maybe, and push us on to challenging for the title. I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, it's going to be 2 to 3 years before we challenge for the title again. The reality of the situation is, it may well be. We're not going to challenge. We're not going to suddenly challenge for the title next season with a new manager coming in. That would be very unlikely. Of course, it could happen, but the reality of the situation is, for me, it would appear highly unlikely on that. What has Pochettino achieved in his career? That look, I think the Spurs stuff for sure. I think just winning, success as a manager is not black and white. It's not trophies you're successful, none you're not. He did a great body of work at Espanyol. He did a very good job at Southampton. The Southampton team that he had was playing some great stuff. He went to Tottenham. He did a very good job there. Yes, he didn't win anything, which is disappointing. He would have wanted to have won something, but Mourinho's gone there. Conte's gone there. Every manager that's succeeded him has not won anything there. But what he did at Spurs, he develops young players, as you touched on, mate. Dele Alli probably played his best football under Poch. He pushed on Christian Eriksen, Harry Kane. Son was very good under Poch as well. He develops younger players. He plays an exciting brand of football. At PSG, he didn't play the best football.
Nobody wins the Champions League there as well.
He wasn't popular. Yes, Thomas Tuchel made the Champions League final with PSG, and I'm not discrediting his achievement, but that was the COVID Champions League. Very, very different. There were no two-legged games in those knockout rounds. And it was a very specific set of circumstances. And you've seen since that PSG just don't get nowhere near Germany. So I think using the fact that he didn't win the Champions League at PSG as a mark against him, that I don't think you can do that. Yes, there's doubts about him. Can he manage big egos? He struggled in that PSG dressing room. But, his record of developing younger players, the brand of football that he plays, I think that there are positives to appointing him. Yes, of course there's negatives, but there's negatives with every manager. So I don't really know what we're trying to do here. I mean,
he'll get money as well, won't he? He'll get money as well compared to what you got at Tottenham. He'll definitely get some sort of money as well. So
he'll definitely get money and he'll get backing. What we got here? Still 2-1 Southampton. Great. We'll get onto the Kompany stuff in a sec. I mean, what would worry you about a Poch appointment? If it is Pochettino, obviously we don't know yet. But what concerns would you have over Poch? Because look, let's be real. There's concerns over every manager. Yeah. Is there anything that kind of sticks out for you, mate, in terms of what might concern you over Pochettino?
I think maybe the ambition and sort of his mentality, possibly. That's the only sort of thing that would sort of concern me as a Chelsea fan, and with him potentially being the manager as well. So, I think ambition and mentality is probably the only thing that I sort of worry.
Oh, sorry, mate. It's 3-1 Southampton.
No way, is it?
Yes, get in there.
Get in. Come on, the Saints.
Sorry, bro. What were you saying?
Yeah, oh God, I've got to say now.
Concerns about Poch.
Mentality, yeah, concerns about mentality and ambition. Yeah, I think that's the only thing. And I feel like he'd be more of a yes man for Bowley, I think, as well. If Bowley wants, obviously, players in the summer and stuff, then I've got a feeling Poch won't be strong enough to... Well, it's a good goal. So I just saw the goal now, yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah, sorry, mate. I just saw the goal now.
Who scored it?
I think that centre-back who just came on for Bednarek. Yeah, I don't know how to say his name, but...
Yeah, I think it's Bednarek.
We're so lost in Southampton Arsenal, bro. When
the Saints go marching in, yes.
There you go, yeah.
North London are chokers.
Yeah, anything to stop the Gunners, man. Honestly, bro.
Oh, mate, this is fantastic.
Tell me about it. But yeah, as I was saying, second time round. I think what it is with the owners as well. Like as I was saying, I think if Bowley wants to play, let's just say, for example, if I'll just throw a random name in there. If Bowley wants Lukaku, for example, if he wants to keep Lukaku, then I've got a feeling Poch will just be yes man. He'll just be like, cool, I'll keep Lukaku, without sort of arguing against him in a way, when I kind of feel like Poch wouldn't want a player like Lukaku in the team. So I think those are the only sort of things that I worry about in terms of Poch, and maybe being too scared as well to ask for players as well, which he kind of did at Spurs, but he didn't really sort of call out the owners like, say, Conte or Mourinho did. So those are the only sort of things that sort of worry me in terms of the football pitch and stuff. Maybe his adaptability during games. something I might have concerns with at the same time. But yeah, those are just nitpicking stuff, to be honest. And yeah, I think the main things, as I said, were ambition and fully knowing what he wants, basically.
Yeah, look, I think look, there are concerns, like in terms of what will he be like within this structure. Has he learned from his time at PSG in terms of managing big egos in a dressing room? What kind of brand of football is he going to play? Can he get this attack firing? That would be the biggest thing for me. Can he get this attack functioning, and can he get this team scoring goals?
Yeah.
It's all very well scoring goals in the French league with Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, and whatnot. But in terms of at Chelsea, can he actually get this team scoring goals? Can he form an identity? Can he? These are all big questions. I mean, that's got to be the number one thing. Would that be for you the number one thing? Like, can the next manager get this team scoring goals? Because so many managers have tried, but so few have actually succeeded with any regularity to actually get us scoring goals.
Yeah, I think one of the things as well is when Potter sort of got hired as well, we kind of expected goals to flow in. When if we really look at looking back on it and stuff with Brighton, like they didn't really score that much. They only had high XG, so there's not people say, yeah, Brighton did score goals on the part, but they should have scored way more.
And they didn't. They underperformed their XG.
Exactly, yeah. So that's the one thing with Poch. That's a big thing you said as well. Is can you get our attackers scoring goals? Because we've always seen glimpses, and we've kind of had formations that have favoured our sort of defenders and midfielders. But I think once we get that DM in, bro, I just think a lot of issues will be fixed. I'm not saying it will be resolved, but I think majority of our problems in the team will be fixed. And I'm looking at a player like Lavia tonight, man. Like so far, he's been
he's been unreal.
He's
tonight,
class,
apparently.
man. He's so good. Like that's one player I definitely want in the summer for sure. And I feel like him working under Poch as well. We saw what he kind of did with Wanyama and Dembele midfield, I believe it was back then.
That was a very good midfield.
Sure, but I think with him in and a couple of midfielders like Declan Rice maybe as well. I truly feel like Poch can hopefully start to get our attackers firing, because we've always seen glimpses, but it's just never been there. And yeah, as I mentioned about the formation, it's just that sort of catered the defenders and the midfielders for the incapabilities we have in midfield.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, we know that Poch can develop young players. We've got a lot of young players there. Be interested to see how he plays, like how Enzo might play under Pochettino, his fellow countryman. Be interested to see how he might develop the likes of Mudryk, how he developed Madueke. There's definitely some interest there. I mean, is there, for you, mate, is there any concern that how we've suddenly seemingly ended up with, having done this extensive search for a number of weeks, how we've suddenly ended up in a situation where we've kind of got Pochettino as the clear favourite for the job, and the only other names on the list are Kompany and an unnamed candidate? I mean, is that a concern to you, how you've ended up there?
Not really, to be honest, mate, because looking at some of the articles, obviously, was it the Matt Law one? I can't remember who it was. It was either Matt Law, Ornstein, or Romano. Said that we were obviously in for Pochettino in the after Tuchel got sacked.
Oh yeah, no, we were. Yeah, we did have. I don't know if there was talks or not, but he was certainly there was certainly an interest there.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's much of a surprise and a concern, because I always feel like Poch has always been on the radar. I think it's just been kept very quiet by the club and obviously journalists as well. And sort of the names that were mentioned, more popular, as in like Enrique and Nagelsmann, they obviously were the two front runners and stuff. But there's always a name that goes under the radar, and I think Pochettino has been that name for a while. So even when I think when Potter is in charge, I still think that we were sort of calling Pochettino, trying to convince him to come. So with regards to that, bro, I don't think it's a concern at all. I just think the club have kept it very quiet. And there was a phase, wasn't there, for about 2 weeks, wasn't there, where obviously Lampard got the job to the end of the season. Then after that, it was a bit quiet on the manager stance. And then that's where I feel like Bowley and co must have sort of contacted Pochettino in that time, and then obviously let talks progress, and then progress sort of, if it did progress well, and up until this point. So,
I mean, do you think Poch would take the job?
I mean, I haven't read any of his personal quotes of what he said, but
No, I don't think he said anything in terms of like, I just mean in terms of like, obviously we've held 2 rounds of talks with him and that. Do you think, obviously we held a couple of rounds of talks with Enrique, Nagelsmann and whatnot. Do you think like actually maybe, do you think he would take the job? Do you think he's got any doubts over us?
I feel like when you go to any sort of job just anyway, you always have doubts. I think Poch will have doubts, but I'm sure Bowling Co will hopefully reassure Poch, and then I hope Poch is asking some hard questions as well to the ownership, because that's where it should really stem from. Really, is the new manager potentially asking that many questions, to be honest. So, will he say yes to us? See, I don't know, because he's always said that he's loved Tottenham, so I don't really know, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know what other big jobs Pochettino can get right now. In terms of like, he's been out the game for a while. Obviously, if by all accounts, if Ancelotti wins the Champions League, they'll offer him a new contract. If he doesn't, maybe he could be going. I mean, would Poch go for Real Madrid? I mean, it looks like it would be Nagelsmann and Poch for the Real Madrid job, I guess, if that became available. Look at Poch trying to get into management and get into like a big job potentially. There's not that many of those big jobs around for Pochettino. So maybe you think he wants to get back into the game at the top level, then this is probably his best opportunity. So maybe he has to take this for his career.
He'll be back in London as well. That's probably a factor. That's
a nicer part of London as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to shit on not shitting on anyone that lives in North London, but having had a little couple of visits there, it's not the best.
It's awful, isn't it, bro? It's awful.
It's not great. I mean, there's no disrespect to anyone who's tuning in that lives in North London or anything, but yeah, it's not great. Let's be real. It'll be a nicer lifestyle for him in West London.
You could go around Harrods as well. You could take his wife, his kids.
Yeah, mate, exactly.
Treat them. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, how just. Still on Poch, mate. How do you think, if he is appointed, how do you think he'd be viewed by the fans? Because obviously we know that there's. I don't like Tottenham, but I'm not part of those people that, do the "we hate Tottenham" in the Liquidator and all this like shit. Like I'm not like obviously not a fan of Spurs by any accounts, but like I don't have like a deep rooted hatred because they're not a rival to us in terms of they're not going to stop us winning shit.
Same for me.
Is it a problem for you, mate, that he's managed Spurs for so long and is viewed as maybe as a Spurs legend per se? Does that bother you? It seems to bother quite a lot of people, but does that bother you?
I think kind of, but it doesn't like bug me to the urge of like, wow, like we can't hide this guy. Like I've always said, bro, like Tottenham have never been my closest rivals. It's always been Arsenal for me. Like that's just been a club that I despise, to be honest, because obviously they're our closest rivals. They win stuff. Tottenham don't win anything. They're irrelevant. They get top 6, top 4 each season. We're not that kind of club, so Tottenham are irrelevant. Like I'm sure Arsenal fans will some Arsenal fans probably think the same about us, to be honest, about Chelsea being more rivals than Spurs, but obviously the same postcode, same neighborhood and stuff. So yeah, with that, it's like I think this will be a Rafa Benitez 2.0. I think at the start. Do you remember those days, bro? When
but do you think that's a massive problem though? Because obviously we're going through a bit of a bad run. Like if it is Poch, we don't want it to be toxic from day one. Like I think the fan base have got to put their personal feelings to one side. We need to create an environment that's going to be optimal for a manager to succeed. Like it almost feels like if the Poch is appointed, it almost feels like there are some people that want him to fail before he's even got here. Like for me, it's so important that we actually get the fan base get behind him, because it's a difficult job. He's a good manager, and like not getting behind him is not going to benefit the club. Whether you like Poch or not, or think he's a good manager or not, once he's installed as Chelsea manager, if he is, then everyone's got to back him and everyone's got to support him, whether you like it or not, because you want the club to do well.
Exactly, mate. It's like like you just said, if he does become a manager, we have to give him all the support that he needs, because at the end of the day, he's our manager, Chelsea manager. Like we have to show him like some sort of backing as we have to other managers in the past. Like the treatment that Rafa Benitez got was understandable at the time.
Yeah, because I think he publicly criticised Chelsea, though, I think, whilst he was at Liverpool, which is a little bit different. But, I get your point.
Yeah, like you can understand why people would turn on Rafa back then, but at the same time, like at the end of the season, people are praising him because he obviously got us. He got us into the top four when it was looking unlikely that season. He somehow got some form out of Torres as well when like three
Mate,
bloody
Torres
managers
was
couldn't as
cooking
well.
under him.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's and obviously the main thing he won the Europa League as well, something that Man United fans can't really talk about at the moment, and Arsenal fans. But yeah, it's one of them where we have to get behind the manager, get behind Poch. Let's just see how he does. If he does bad, he does bad. Like, oh well, we'll hold our hands up as fans, and the ownership have to hold their hands up. In terms of admitting that they probably hired the wrong person. But yeah, I mean, like I'm in a way, I'm kind of happy we're taking our time with this new manager appointment thing because I don't want to rush it like we did last time. Like I'm fine waiting until um at least till end of May. That's sort of my deadline for the new manager. For me is the end of May. So that he can see who he wants, plan preseason. I know obviously it'll be a shortened preseason. See who he wants, see who he doesn't want, and then yeah, just take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, let's move away from Poch slightly now. We'll get back, might revisit it later on, but I think another surprise twist was the fact that Vincent Kompany is on the managerial shortlist. I don't think anyone expected that. This is kind of the first time there'd been murmurings in previous weeks. This is kind of the first time that his name has been linked like a concrete link to the job, and it appears that he's on the shortlist, like the final four, as it were, but it's now the final three. He's obviously done a very good job at Burnley. The transformation from Sean Dyche ball to what it is now, they're going to win the championship title. They're up to the Premier League. They're playing some great stuff under him. He didn't have the best of times at Anderlecht, but he's done a very good job at Burnley. But I mean, the fact that Chelsea had concerns over Nagelsmann's, their doubts over his age and his experience, those were some of the doubts. But yet, those doubts don't seem to be there for Kompany, who, all right, he's a bit older than Nagelsmann by maybe a couple of years, but he's not got the experience. Are you like what are your thoughts on Vincent Kompany? He clearly could become a very good manager. He's definitely, it's not the same as Lampard. He's definitely a lot better than Lampard in my opinion already. But are you surprised that Kompany somehow seems to have found himself on the sort of in the final 3 or 4 candidates? It's a bit strange
that is very surprising because he was linked with the Tottenham job, wasn't he, as well, I believe?
He was a little bit linked with the Tottenham job, yeah. I don't think it went any further.
Yeah, it's very surprising. And what you mentioned about Nagelsmann and Kompany is a bit like it's a bit strange and a bit hypocritical from the owners saying that Nagelsmann's obviously too young, but then Kompany's obviously older. But yeah, he's done a great job for Burnley, but it's in the Championship. Like I'm not really taking that too much into account in a way. I know obviously he's completely changed the identity of Burnley. He's playing different football with them compared to when they had Sean Dyche. But I want to see how he does in the Premier League next season, and maybe him move on to, for example, like a mid-table team possibly, and see how he does, get a good cup run. If he could win a cup, then take it from there. But I think it's way too early to be going in for Vincent Kompany as manager. But yeah, it's very surprising that he's one of the contenders. And I believe, did he have a 3 hour, 4 hour call or something with?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, apparently after the Brighton game, they had a 3 hour call with. I mean, let me bring that tweet up now if I can find it. There was a 3 hour call with Vincent Kompany. I mean, it would make. What do you make of Vincent Kompany as a manager? Kind of thus, so far. Obviously, there's not an awful lot to judge it on, but I mean, he's clearly got potential to be decent. I think that much is fair to say, but I mean, I don't think we should be going. Would you agree? I'm sure you would agree, but this is way too big for him, and it's probably way too soon for him.
Yeah, way too soon. And yeah. As I said, he's changed the identity of Burnley. Like they play completely different football to how they played under Dyche. They play silky football, good football. He's brought the best out of a Maatsen as well. He was struggling at Cov City as well when he was on loan. He wasn't really playing much, but look what he's done to Maatsen. He's probably the best fullback in the Championship right now, and scoring goals for fun, keeping clean sheets. That's obviously a recipe for success in the Championship as well. So yeah, it's just too early. We can't be taking that risk at this point. I mean, I think for me, this is set up for Kompany to become the next Man City manager after Pep goes. I think that's the way it's going to go, in my opinion.
I mean, do you think that perhaps they view Kompany as another one similar to Arteta, like another Pep disciple, quote unquote, that could be kind of the next one off the rank? Maybe, I'm not really sure, but there must be some serious interest, and this is true. No reason to disbelieve it's not true. A 3-hour phone call that's fucking long. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's some going. That's kind of some kind of deep level conversations. I mean, mate, it would be mad if it ended up being Vincent Kompany. I don't think it will be. I'd like to think it wouldn't be, but you can never say never with Chelsea, and you can never say never with these owners. I mean, how mad? I mean, how would you feel like if it was him? Obviously, we'd get behind it and we'd back it, but I mean, it's not really. Is it really learning from your mistakes of appointing Graham Potter?
Exactly. Like, if this happens, bro, like I just like I honestly, I'll be speechless, bro. I don't think I've anything to say about it, to be honest, because not in a million years would I expect this to happen. Like, and if it does, bro, like honestly, like you said, I'll get behind it and stuff and roll with it, but it would just be so weird seeing Kompany in the Chelsea dugout. Like, he's not even a legend of ours, and it's like it's crazy, man. But yeah, in all seriousness, I think it's way too early for him to become manager for Chelsea or even for a big club. I think he needs about 2 or 3 jobs just before that sort of big step up. And I think, as I said before, I think it's paved well for him to become City manager when Pep Guardiola eventually leaves, I think.
Yeah, but I even look at Vincent Kompany, you might think like he might want to stay at Burnley for a season in the Prem, but you look at teams like a Leicester City, if they were to stay up, or a West Ham job potentially, like that would probably be better for him to go to as a stepping stone. Although I do think that, he should probably stay at Burnley for a season in the Prem and then go. But then you can also look at it, if they don't have a good season in the Premier League and they go down, is his reputation slightly damaged? I don't know. You don't know how often these jobs are going to come along, but he's only just started his managerial career, so you'd imagine he'd get further opportunities. I mean, Trevor, appreciate you tuning in, mate, as always. Look, I don't think we're definitely not fucked for 10 years. Like, I think that's a slight over exaggeration. I understand concerns because these new owners, they have made mistakes. And it looks like with this process, perhaps they're not learning from those mistakes. It may appear that way, but I still feel confident that, under this regime that we will be successful and we will win trophies, and we're just having a few teething issues early doors. But I don't think it will be fucked for 10 years. But I mean, Dharmesh, do you have any concerns about the owners? Like, do you have any concerns about what's going on at the moment, kind of during their reign so far? Because as they've showed ambition 100%, and they've backed the managers in the market big time. So they will back managers for sure. And they will spend money. That's clear. Have you got any kind of lingering doubts over them at the moment? Have they still yet to, have you been fully won over by them? I think there's still quite a few mistakes being made.
I think there are some concerns, to be honest, with the sort of decisions that have been made this season, because we've seen how much they've sort of messed up this season, and I think it's obviously put a lot of doubt in the fans' mind, even including mine. I'm not sure about yours as well, in terms of the types of players that we go for nowadays and the type of manager as well. So I think there's still a bit of doubt in there, and I completely understand why people would think that, to be honest. And I think we have to look at some of the positives that the owners have done this season. They've brought in, they've had a January window like nobody has had before. And I remember all fans were praising the owners, we were gassing up the owners as well back then as well. So yeah, I definitely think there's cause of concern even for the future. I mean, if they get this appointment right, then all will be forgotten in their first sort of like season in charge of Chelsea. So yeah, it just depends on making the right decisions, taking their time with it, which is why I don't mind them doing that, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I think there have been mistakes, but the key for me is that as long as they learn from those mistakes, there's always going to be mistakes when a new ownership comes in. Bowley didn't know the sport, perhaps still doesn't know the sport particularly well. Was making a lot of decisions, like big decisions, on his own as an acting sporting director, which didn't really know what he was doing, if we're being brutally honest. So now that the football people are in place, you would expect less mistakes to be made. You would expect better decisions to be made. Oh no, it's 3-2. Let's hope. How long's left? There can't be that long left.
5 minutes. 5 minutes, I think, including. Yeah,
5 minutes included added time. Is it definitely 3-2?
I think so.
Well, there can't be that long left. Was it 8 o'clock game? 8 till 8:45, 9 till 9:45. That must virtually be done, surely.
Or Premier League app saying 85 minutes in.
Only 85 minutes in.
Apparently so. Yeah.
I mean,
it is. Odegaard scored.
Odegaard. Oh shit! Let's hope the Saints can hold on. I mean, even a draw is really poor anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's updated to 88 minutes now, so I think there'll be like, let's just say 5 minutes left, including any time and all that. So
yeah, fair. Yeah. Let me get to these. What would you think if Vivell quit?
It's not good.
No, that wouldn't be good. No, that wouldn't be good. I don't envisage that happening. He's only just got here. He's obviously got a very senior role, and he's good at what he does. And so, look. Whether we're all going to have our personal choices on who we think should be the manager, but ultimately, I put my trust in the footballing people who are conducting the process to do the best they can. And if they decide that Poch is the right guy, whilst I might not agree personally, I'll get behind it and I'll put my trust in these people because that's why they're here. Oh, right, there was 7 minutes added on in the first half. That's why they're still going. Okay.
Oh yes, yeah. There was an injury, I think, to Bender.
Okay. What we've got here. I can't see Bowley keeping his nose out. No other PL owners seek out the spotlight and is so high profile. Well, I think it's very look. These guys are here for 10 years, minimum 10 years, as per the deal. I don't know if there's any clauses in that deal or whatever, but they're here for 10 years. So we're gonna Oh, you're joking! It's 3-3 now.
Wow.
Oh, how have the Saints folded like that? Oh, fucking hell.
That's mad.
I wouldn't be surprised if they lost now. I really wouldn't be surprised if they lost.
Oh, man. Premier League's mad, isn't it? It's crazy.
Mate, this is mad. Even a 3-3 is poor.
Yeah. Drop points, but...
drop points would be terrible. I mean, mate, what are your thoughts on the dressing room stuff? Because I think owners do go in the dressing room. They do. This is not a new thing. But I also think it's very much a cultural thing. In American sports, owners and stuff going in the changing rooms and that is very normal. That's very normal in basketball, in NFL, in baseball. That's quite a normal thing. Perhaps it's not as normalized in football, but this is not some sort of revolutionary new thing. This does happen. I mean, as long as they're not, demanding to pick the team, whatever. The owners, it's their club. They own it.
Yeah,
it's their prerogative if they want to go in the changing room or not. You've had multiple managers come out and talk about it. Lampard's talked about it in terms of Roman used to do it. He's okay with it. Ancelotti's spoken about it in terms of owners going in the dressing room and whatnot. I don't think this is a new thing. I mean, where do you stand on it? Because it doesn't really sit very well with some people. I mean, I'm personally not too bothered on whether they are in the dressing room or not. But what are your thoughts on them coming in the dressing room? Because the visits seem to be a bit more frequent now, or maybe it's just being publicised more because we are doing so shit.
Yeah, I think for the first couple of times, I think it's okay. But I think if it's a regular occurrence, I think it's a bit of a problem, in my opinion, as well. I don't think for me, if I wasn't dressing, I'd rather hear stuff from the manager rather than the owners, in my opinion. Because let's be real, I wouldn't trust their sort of footballing knowledge. I'd rather trust the manager in that sense, and that maybe just proves Lampard isn't doing enough in the dressing room. So, yeah, I mean, I think it just puts pressure on the players as well, like we've seen with the reported story that they're singling out a player as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think supposedly could have been Sterling, which fair. I mean, he's been shit. He's not the only one, but it's he's not been good. Yeah, I think it's got to be close, isn't it? You can't. There's a close line here. If it's not what do you call it? If it's not if it's not conducive to the team, then perhaps it's not the most helpful. But they're just going in, having a chat, asking what's going on, why we're not performing. Then I don't particularly see much of an issue with that necessarily. But let's kind of see what happens there. Mate, in terms of this, oh fucking hell, Arsenal going to win this.
I wouldn't be surprised, bro.
Mate, as soon as they took Lavia off, Saints conceded 2 goals.
Yeah. That just shows, man. Lavia's the truth, man. Get him in the summer, Bowley, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
They hit the post as well, apparently, Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, mate, they're coming. They are coming, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, you almost feel that this will be an Arsenal. Mate, to be fair,
we should turn this into a watch-along, bro.
Nah, mate. I don't think there's actually that long left. Arsenal, oh shit, hell, come on. Anyway, mate, who do you think this unnamed candidate could be as well? By the way, because is that unnamed because they can't name who it is? Like, is this someone totally new that's been linked? For me, I feel this is someone that we've spoken to before, or has already been mentioned within the process already. And for whatever reason, they're not naming him. I don't think this is someone left field that's, is completely new to the process. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's Ruben Amorim. I don't think people think it might be Mourinho or Conte. I think that's very unlikely. My guess would be Oliver Glasner at Frankfurt. There's been links to him before. They are admirers of him, or Chelsea do admire him. I don't think it's someone totally left field or out of the box. Who do you think this unnamed candidate could be? Because there's not really that many managers out there that are going to be in with a shout of this. Surely it must be someone that's already been mentioned during the process, where even if they've not prominently featured.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea. I mean, it could be, like you said, someone that we talked to before. It could be someone completely new. Like, if I was to take a pick of one, I'll probably say Jose, maybe, but I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, look, I think there's a very good manager, but I think from a PR perspective, we couldn't be seen to go for another Brighton manager.
No, no chance.
Not right now. Anyway, so further down the line, yeah, sure, maybe, but I don't think we can suddenly be going for another Brighton manager. Mourinho, maybe Mourinho. I don't really know, but he doesn't. But as much as I love Jose and Chelsea fans love Jose, the direction that the club are looking to go in, this Mourinho doesn't hardly ticks any of those boxes. So it doesn't fit what they're looking for. So if it was Jose, that would be a complete change of tact and completely ripping up what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah, I just don't know. Like, it could be anyone. It could be a name that we haven't really mentioned. It could be a surprise name. Like, that's just what my gut's saying. I think it'll be Mourinho just for the PR sake, and maybe just the fact that he's obviously managed us before. And he's always kind of said that he wants to return to Chelsea one day. So yeah, I mean, that's the only name that I can really sort of back in terms of an unnamed candidate potentially. So it could be maybe Carlo. I don't know.
No, I don't know if Carlo would Carlo come back.
Well, under new ownership, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. This new candidate thing's weird, but I mean, mate, to kind of round this out, who do you expect this new manager to be? Because it kind of almost looks now, if we're to believe what's going on, that it's very much it's Poch's to lose essentially. Like, it looks like if Poch wants the job, it's his, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I was to put a guess right now, I think it'll probably end up being Pochettino. But honestly, bro, like with the Chelsea manager situation, it could be anyone. Like, generally, there might be new, fresher talks for next week. There might be news next week, maybe. So, yeah, I think if I was to put a bet right now, I'd probably say Pochettino will be the next Chelsea manager come next season. But you never know. Could be a name. There could be that unnamed candidate that we're sort of debating about.
Yeah, mate. We just don't know. We just don't know. It's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? I'm not sure. This process had so many twists and turns. You think it's going to be Nagelsmann, you think it might be Enrique. Now it's suddenly Poch. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there was another turn in this. But I mean, mate, dare we even think about if Poch decides that he doesn't want it? I mean, where does that potentially leave us then? Like that leaves us in a difficult situation for sure. I mean, this has had a lot of twists and turns, as I said, mate. Do you think there's any chance that we could maybe go back and revisit Nagelsmann or Enrique and try and patch things up or something like that? I don't know.
Rama guy saying Conte.
No, I don't think so. Like Conte is the complete opposite of what we're looking for and what those owners would be looking for.
Yeah, true. But yeah, man, it's gonna be low key exciting, but low key a bit nervy, man. Finding this
Do you think we're any closer? Like, do you think we could have anything next week?
I don't know about next week, but I think we're definitely closer than we were sort of before. But yeah, like I've always given a 1 month deadline, I think. But as long as we announce someone before the end of the season, I'm totally fine with that, and totally fine with the what do you call it, with the ownership taking their time as well. And I think Ryan in the chat said Xabi Alonso as well. That's a good shout.
Yeah, Xabi, that is a good shout. That is a possibility. I mean, what do you like? What do you think of Xabi Alonso? I know again, not too much experience. Doing a great job at Bayer Leverkusen. But let's be honest, in a similar mold to Vincent Kompany, like not really enough experience. It is too soon. You know, could both go on and be great managers, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Hansi Flick. I don't know about that. By the way, guys, keep smashing the likes. We're on 20 now. Let's see if we can get this to 30 before we round out in the next few minutes. Try and get as many likes on this stream as possible, people. So yeah, let's get it up past 20, guys. We're on 20 now. Let's try and get this closer to 25, get it closer to 30 people. You can do this definitely for sure. So keep smashing those likes, guys. Big up everyone in the chat as well.
Been 3-3, by the way.
Been good tonight. Yeah, fantastic. Drop points for Arsenal. That's what we like. Not the loss we were looking for, but that's another 2 points drop. That's no wins. That's three draws in a row now. 6 points dropped in the last 3 games. They are faltering. Yes, there's spirit there, but you know they're faltering there. Let's hope so. I mean, mate, this Hansi Flick talk's been going on for a while as well. People were all like, it's not. I don't think that's going to happen. He's going to stick with Germany for those Euros. There's no way that he's going to suddenly decide to bin Germany just before the Euros start. So
yes, all on the Euros, bro. Like I think if the Euros weren't happening next year, I think he'd be the favourite. I think to take over the job because obviously he's been pictured at Stamford Bridge a couple of times. I believe at the Fulham game, and there was another game he was pictured at as well. But yeah, I think it's all on those Euros. If that didn't happen, I think he'd be the clear favourite. But yeah, I guess Hansi Flick could be an unnamed one. Like there might have been talks going on, but very unserious ones. That's probably why it's unnamed because it's not really serious in a way. They're just trying to keep the options open.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, what? I mean, what? I mean, do you know much about Marcelo Gallardo? I mean, potentially he could be maybe the unnamed candidate. It's a possibility, but again, you know, he's done a great job at River Plate, very highly thought of in South America. He's got a good reputation, but again, never managed outside of Argentina. Well, certainly outside of South America.
No, nothing about him, bro.
That again is a massive, massive gamble. You think he'd need to go to Europe first to kind of improve, and then kind of move on from there. But again, you know, there's a lot of questions to answer. There's a lot of questions and not that many answers. I mean, mate, do you expect any news over the weekend? Because this suddenly develops pretty quickly today.
Over the weekend, yeah, possibly because funny enough, we don't really play this weekend. So I guess
we're not playing this weekend, which is mad.
Yeah, well, I mean that's good news, isn't it? Now we're not.
Well, yeah, I mean, it feels weird not playing on the weekend. We normally always have a game on the weekend.
Yeah, you can take a rest on those match logs as well, bro. So
yeah, mate, a little rest until Wednesday night.
There you go. Yeah, but in all seriousness, I think I definitely think the talks are ramping up and speeding up in a way because I think the ownership definitely want to get this sorted out really quickly or as soon as they can, really. So, and not having a game this weekend as well, I think that'll make a difference in their sort of pursuit and the decision to make as the new manager.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it has to. It has to be heating up now. Because as I said, we've got no Champions League now. The season's done. There's no the season's done in terms of what we can play for. There's no there's no Champions League or anything like that. We're not going to qualify for Europe. There's no reason why this can't accelerate a bit faster now. I'm not expecting to say that I'm not expecting an announcement over the weekend or anything like that. But maybe towards the end of next week we might hear something. I mean, I don't know what else we could be doing.
No,
to be perfectly honest, because they've held 2 rounds of talks with Poch. There's also been a conversation with Vincent Kompany. We don't know who this other candidate is. I mean, surely there can't be that much more to go. This has been quite an extensive process already. I mean, I don't know how long since Potter been sacked? Like a month or so? It hasn't been that long, has it?
Yeah, I think. Well, when did we play Liverpool? It was basically when we played Liverpool, wasn't it? Around then. That's because obviously that's when Bruno took charge. So yeah, let's just say a month. It's been about a month, to be honest. But yeah,
it's been around that. I mean, that's quite an extensive period of time, and I'm sure they would have started speaking to people before they actually sacked Potter. They wouldn't have waited to sack him and then start the search. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all a bit uncertain. I think once we sort of get a name, a confirmed name, then obviously we'll have more sort of like in-depth analysis to go through in terms of what kind of styles of play they had, their sort of positives, their negatives they had as well on the team in terms of selections and stuff, tactics as well, in and out of possession. But yeah, man, it's exciting but nervy times, man. I think as a Chelsea fan in a way.
It is exciting, but yeah, I fully appreciate also a little bit nervy. We're not really sure what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, what impact it's going to have.
Mainly who it's going to be.
And who it's going to be. But yeah, I mean, to round out people, it looks, I mean, Julian Nagelsmann has withdrawn from the race to be the next Chelsea manager. It's not going to be Nagelsmann. It's not going to be Luis Enrique as things stand. It very much looks like Mauricio Pochettino's job to accept or not. That seems to be the situation we're in. Vincent Kompany on that shortlist, along with one other unnamed manager. Who knows what other twists or turns are going to appear in this managerial search? We could have an announcement tomorrow. Who knows? But it looks like we are getting closer to an announcement. I would have to say right now, it looks like it's going to be Mauricio Pochettino. But we can't say that for definite because we don't know. Everyone thought it was going to be Julian Nagelsmann, and it wasn't. So it looks like it's going to be Poch. Let's wait and see what happens, guys. I might be back over the weekend with another stream if there's any more managerial updates. This was kind of impromptu, not planned, but there was some big news. So maybe if there's any big news over the weekend, I'll be back. But the managerial search is getting closer. Pochettino in the driving seat. Nagelsmann out. Let's wait and see what happens. But guys, thanks so much for getting involved in the chat as always. Really appreciate each and every one of you that's commented in the chat. I've tried to read as much of it as possible. Really appreciate it, guys. Keep smashing the likes on the way out. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Heading towards 3,000 subscribers, not too far away now, about 200 to go. People, so keep smashing that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Keep smashing your likes on your way out. Dharmesh, thanks for your time as always, bro. Massively appreciated. Guys, make sure you follow Dharmesh on Twitter. It's on his screen name there. You can also follow me on Twitter as well. It's on my display name as well. And guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday night. Have a great weekend. We're not playing this weekend, so it should be a little bit better.
Yes.
So enjoy yourselves. Take care. Up the Chelsea. I'll be back soon, people. Peace out.